might have seen niche pockets of the internet freaking out over the announcement of Star Ocean: The Second Story R. But if you haven't heard about it or seen it, one of the best PlayStation 1 JRPGs ever made is going to get a remake. It releases this year on November 2nd, 2023 at the price point of $49.99. This game has a cult-like following, but it's one that needed modernization for years, and it stayed popular within its fan base. But it also seems that this game almost didn't happen. We're going to talk about why and what changed that. But before we get into it, I'm Solace, this is Solace and Dread. We produce analytical content as well as reaction videos primarily focused on Square Enix, Capcom, and Nintendo publications. To keep up with everything we're doing, follow us over on Twitter, or you can watch us play these games live on twitch.tv/SolaceandDread. So, in case you didn't know, Star Ocean is a franchise of action JRPGs characterized by having fast-paced, free action combat, a robust story, and always commingles futuristic tech with fantasy elements. This usually takes place in the form of somebody from Earth landing on an underdeveloped planet, getting involved in their affairs. The original game of the franchise came out only in Japan in 1996 on the Super Famicom, and the game's developing team actually came from working on the first game in the Tales of series, which is Tales of Phantasia. There were some creative differences on the Tales of Phantasia team. Basically, that Tales of Phantasia was a little too basic and didn't give enough options for player choice, so they formed what would eventually become Tri-Ace, who made all the Star Ocean games. Though the original game was never released in the West, we did get some remakes with a lot of quality of life improvements, and it was made in the same engine as Star Ocean 2, which is a pretty big fan favorite. All of the Star Ocean games are loosely connected, but they are their own stories, and generally don't require you to play the others in order to follow along. But of all of the Star Ocean games, if you ask the fandom, the most popular and best title in the series is Star Ocean 2. The game is one of the titans of the fabled PS1 JRPG era. I mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. In a world of turn-based combat, Star Ocean stood out for having highly stylized visuals and completely free action live combat, with companions being controlled by relatively smart and customizable AI. The game was a hit in Japan, and relatively successful for Enix in the West, which is a market that Dragon Quest and other Enix titles failed to effectively penetrate. The game's success allowed for a sequel as well as an anime adaptation that, well, it wasn't great, but we're not going to talk about that. Star Ocean Till the End of Time was the first foray into the IP after the merger of Squaresoft and Enix, and ended up being a top seller for the franchise, though it was met with heavy criticism for some writing choices. But the game was one of the few to have fully voice-acted cutscenes along the entire game. Doesn't really age well. It's often speculated that the budget for Star Ocean 3 was only allowed because of the massive success of Star Ocean 2. The problem that the fandom faced is that there were 8 games of varying quality, but Star Ocean 2, the best of them, was stuck on either the PS1 or the PSP in a remaster. The PSP port was available on the PS4 eShop, but it was only available in the Japanese regions. At one point, every entry that wasn't a spin-off or a fucking gacha game was available on the PlayStation Store for purchase, except for Star Ocean 2. Tri-Ace, the developers, said that fans needed to be extremely vocal in order to get Square Enix to revive this game. And vocal we were. The fandom started multiple petitions, constantly telling Square Enix via social media that this game was sorely missed. This fandom made their voices heard. The developing team shifted slightly from Tri-Ace proper to Gem Drops, but we got a lot more than a port or a remaster. We got a full-blown remake. It was revealed in an interview by the Star Ocean team that this was made to celebrate its 25th anniversary, and the numerous requests for the game brought this to life, noting the new attention to the series after the success of Star Ocean 6. Had we not been as vocal as we were, this may not have come to fruition. We also could have just gotten a localized port of the PSP remaster. This got a more ceremonious release than Final Fantasy VIII did, with new visuals, new game mechanics, and a fully rearranged soundtrack by the original composer. For an extremely niche JRPG from 25 years ago, this is a miracle. So not only did we get our wish, but it's the first game that will utilize free action combat while also utilizing the HD 2D aesthetic that has been so popular with games like Live Alive and Octopath Traveler. One of the most important things about this is a great way to peer into the future for other titles that fans have requested remakes for, like Chrono Trigger and Xenogears. Star Ocean has had its ups and downs, but let me tell you, this is an up. If you have not played this game, and you are a fan of JRPGs, this is not one to miss. Seriously, like Chrono Trigger levels of seriously. Yes, it's that good. And this is a huge fucking deal. We won. Star Ocean fans are eating really, really well. And I believe in my heart, with the sales of Star Ocean 6, Star Ocean 7 is probably well on its way, and Gem Drops picked up the load for the remake of Star Ocean 2. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, and long live the Turtle Kingdom.